Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Teresa E.
Thank you, Cornsey. Welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beefloaf says allegedly, or that he talked about this on the Ajou, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast or blames his kids for something, you drink. If I fuck up the intro or make MSS appear to be dumb, you drink. And if Jerry Reinsdorf mentions someone who's been dead for decades, you drink.
Yes.
You are getting 5 minutes of My Sock Summer solo tonight for free.
Yes.
Please clap.
Yeah, at least free.
Woo! And of course, you can make all of us
You can
drink
tip.
with a tip of $1.08. And speaking of drinking, my friends, what are you drinking? Beefloaf, what are you drinking?
Oh, my Sock Summer's going to be so proud of me tonight because he makes fun of me when I drink like I'm a 16-year-old cheerleader in high school. So
Yeah.
tonight I'm drinking Squirt and vodka. I'm trying to make use of
Nice.
what I got around the house.
I like
and
it.
I had like a 12-pack of bottles of Squirt, so I'm putting it to work tonight, my friends. I got a couple shots lined up over here to make some more of these, and man, they're goddamn delicious. I don't care.
Squirt's
I
like
love it.
fucking like insanely delicious.
Oh,
like
so good.
I was literally listening to the Jerry Reinsdorf thing and thinking he offered every single one of these guys a Fresca when they walked into his office. And he's just like, "Hey, Bruce, you want a Fresca?" He's like, "Yeah, you know me, Jerry." I put a little lime in there. Teresa, I am drinking. I'm at my taste right now. I'm still on my taste. And Sammy Davis Jr., I hope you're watching this. There's no ice in there. This is the Knob Creek banana pancakes, I think is what it is. It was a 120 proof version. It is fucking great. I am sipping on that. And then I will be moving because I need it, folks. I need it, and we know we need it. The big bottle of Buffalo Trace will be next.
Ooh.
Smothered in ice.
We got a badass here, Teresa.
I know.
Badass
I know.
badass.
bottle as big as my head. I have a big ass head and is the same size. I just want everyone to know that. Chorizo.
He wants you to know how thick it is, too. It's the thickness that
I mean,
counts.
for sure. Chorizo, what
We
are you
gotta-
drinking tonight, buddy?
We got a drink here real quick.
All
We
right,
got
let's
from,
get to it, baby.
Along Mr. Andy says, does MSS still think there's a Sox Fest? I don't know. You can ask that in the stands. I'm not talking
Cheers.
about that.
Cheers,
I'll
Mr.
tell you what.
Ian.
That's all right. Thank you for that. I think there still is going to be one because we'll discuss later. But as tone deaf and just weird as that conversation or the announcements today came off, they
We'll
have
get
no
to that.
idea. They're just like, you know what? This is a great
They thought
idea.
it went well.
Everyone's going to be like,
They're patting themselves on the back today.
listen, Chris Getz, no one got shot today. Chris Getz is already here. You know, we used to have 2 people doing the job. Now we just got 1 person doing the job, and he's the final guy. You know, let's introduce him to the public. You know what? He's going to be main stage signing autographs for as many people as they want to. You know, Chris Getz will be there.
MSS, do you
Yes.
think it's the idea is that they can do Sox Fest now because they don't have to buy hotel rooms for both Kenny and Rick. They only have
Right.
to buy 1 hotel room. So like it's
safe.
finally hit the budget number they were looking for.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you could maybe bring in another player. Or just find somebody that lives like close to Ron Kittle and maybe
They'll ride
Ron
together.
can pick him up and they can stay in the same room. You know, they got a
Bunk beds.
double.
We'll have a little sleepover.
Ron Kittle,
A little MAGA
and fucking
sleepover for
Jerry
you.
Harrison, just hanging out. You know, no big deal.
So to answer your question on what I'm drinking,
Yeah, what are you drinking, bud?
I went down to the 7-Eleven. You know, gotta walk down to the 7-Eleven, see what kind of pipe works they got working, and so I got the it's called Cold Crispy Lime.
Oh,
It's a rice lager with lime.
Rice
It's,
lager.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
never
No.
heard of it.
Budweiser
it's pretty
apparently uses rice too.
It does.
Pretty
You know how you knew that? Because
Yeah.
you saw that beautiful picture I took, right? You
Yeah.
you zoomed in on that shit, huh?
No, a guy that used to drink Bud all the time.
It says it right on the can. By the way.
I used to call it. He's like, "Oh, that's rice beer, dude. You don't even want to drink that. This is rice beer." And I was like, "Okay, well, I guess rice beer makes me want to shit my pants." Great.
Oh man.
Speaking of shit in your pants, how you doing tonight, my sock summer?
I'm doing great. So we're going in. We have a fucking loaded show, right? Like a totally top to bottom loaded show. And then they throw press conferences on top of it and just make some statements that just like my head wants to explode, right? Like I've never bought into a lot of things, but anyway. But so added to all this stuff, the apartment building next door has been redoing the roof, okay? So the first part of this whole thing is they're ripping off the old roof that's been on there forever. And I'm sitting here in my house last week when this all starts, and all of a sudden I hear slams, just slams. And what the fuck is going on outside? They are taking the old shingles from the roof, which is, I had to have been 17 fucking layers of just black fucking shingles, and are dropping them right next to our house and is slamming on the concrete. I'm worried because my bobbleheads are right there where the fucking shit is slamming, but it's not that loud. There's not that much movement. It's just very fucking loud. And so I'm like, okay, great. Now, he's doing this during the day. At least they're not doing it at night. We're okay. Fast forward to this week. All of a sudden, the guys aren't there. Okay? They're just not there. They're not slamming fucking shit on the ground during the day. What time do they show up to start doing the slamming of the shit? 5:00 in the afternoon. So we fucking in the back of the apartment, which is in the back of my house, there's fucking slams going on, and it sounds, and I'm not fucking shitting you, as a guy that just lived through a shooting at Sox Park, it sounds like a goddamn gun going off every time that the fucking thing hits the ground, and I'm just like, whoa.
That's the victim of the shooting.
And I'm like, what the fuck now?
You fucking pussy. I can't believe you used that line. How dare you?
I'm kidding. I literally, no one knew. I did not know, because when they canceled the show, I was the loudest person booing, because it had ruined my lifelong dream of finally getting to see Vanilla Ice.
Tanahita wants to know, hey, Karen, did you file a complaint? Are we getting there? Is that where this is going?
We're coming. Well, I did yell at the guy that owns the building and say, well, I had my wife do it because she knows him. I was like,
you are such a coward.
Tell them to make sure they fucking clean the shit up, because there was black soot and scrapes on the side of our house from where all the shingles were hitting. Now it's going up against our fence in the backyard, which I don't know if you guys know, but I have like painstakingly grown this Chicago ivy all over it. Like, I put a lot of effort into this, but I'm less concerned about that, because if they break it and it falls over, I get a new fence. So I'm not really that worried. I can grow more fucking shit.
As long as there's free stuff, Tracy.
Hey, listen, that's the way it is.
But you broke all these bobbleheads.
Here's what I'm.
The noise knocked all these down.
Here's what I'm really worried about. I don't know how old these shingles are, and I don't know the dust that's coming off of them that's going into my lungs, if it's gonna kill me. I'm telling my wife, I'm like, we're documenting this shit because I need to know, just in case, like, if in 30 years they're like, you have mesothelioma, you're dying because of you've been inhaling asbestos. I was like, dude,
fucking guy walked outside.
I've got the black
lung.
Ripped the shit off. I don't know, man. I don't know. So I'm really worried about that. I'm just saying that's the way it is. So that's how my day is going so far. You know, you guys can discuss about yourselves, but it's just been a lot. It's been a lot today.
So what happened when you went out there and yelled at him? It's like, get the fuck out
I don't even know what really happened here, other than loud noises at 5:00.
It's just very loud. It's very loud till
there's soot everywhere.
8 o'clock at night, and then my whole deck is covered in black soot that I have to sweep up every morning.
MSS is going to show up to the game tomorrow like a fucking chimney sweep. Like, he's just
I'm going to take pictures so you motherfuckers can see it. I'm going to take pictures and you can see it, and then you'll be like, you know.
Oh, man, those pictures would have been good for, like a live show where you're describing this.
Hey, my socks, why don't you mask up, you liberal snowflake? What the fuck? If you're worried about the conditions, put a mask on, you fucking pansy.
Yeah, I want to walk around my house.
We're going to fight tonight. I have a feeling we're going to fight tonight, right?
Well, you should be ready to fight because I made you look like a bitch. So.
Wow.
The motherfucker. We'll get to that fucking shit. Pain in the ass.
How you doing tonight, Beef?
Let me tell you something, boys. I'm normally not someone who gets pissed off about things. I'm not much of a yeller, I don't complain. My glass is half full. But I had a outing yesterday for work. We went to Wrigley Field. And now this is my second time being at Wrigley Field in the last like month-ish. My wife had some friends in town and they wanted to go meet up and we went to Wrigley. So this is 2 experiences there in similar seating area. Yesterday we were sitting really close, like right down the right field line, just kind of outside of like the dugout there. So like really close to the field. Watching the Cubs-Brewers game and being at Wrigley Field frustrated the shit out of me about the White Sox because the Cubs play a brand of baseball. While they're not perfect or anything, they're just a little bit above average team, but they play good defense. They run the bases pretty well. They have patient hitters. The crowd gets really pumped up and into the game. They play Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming, when they score. Like, they kind of got a groove there, and I was like... And I was pissed because I'm like, man, I want something fun at our part. Because I would have liked if both teams could lose that game yesterday. Because fuck the Cubs and fuck the Brewers. But I was very upset.
You're saying that, but
no, that's my feeling. Like
I don't know.
I watching people cheer. It just like pissed me off that I don't get mad on a daily basis at the White Sox, but I get mad when I got the comparison of another team right next to me. And they're all having a good time and having fun and high-fiving and shit. And I'm just sitting, I'm getting cucked right there, MSS. I'm in the cuck position where I'm watching all the fun activity. Yeah. I'm sitting out and I'm crying at the end, you know? So I'll be honest with you, that pissed me off more. I don't understand how anyone can have I'm going to go watch this other team. And then that makes you feel good. That made me feel like shit being at that game yesterday. Like, it made me feel like shit watching a team operate and their fans being happy as hell. And me, I get nothing when I go to watch my team.
It's weird because that's what happens when you don't hire anybody from the outside in the last 35 years and then be like, I don't understand why all these ideas are fucking stale. Or the people that are in charge just turn down any of the fun ideas that you might potentially have because, God damn it, we just can't have fun over here. It's weird. It is weird that, like, I mean, winning happen, like, those things, like, help, you know, things become more fun and, like, things to pop out, right? Like, you're like, oh, yeah, we got to do this because we did this one time. But, like, fuck, man, even when we were winning, it was like, oh, what are we going to do? Like, nobody does anything. It's weird. We wait for that one gerbil or the prairie dog, the prairie dog commercial that comes out where he just sings
to the story already.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? On the board. Remember that one? That where they have
I thought you were talking about but I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, the little Dale, and everyone starts yelling back and forth.
Now that I love.
Go into sabotage. That was literally that's the best thing that's happened to this team in the last 3 years.
It's the highlight of the season.
It really is.
Us not getting shot, and then that are the 2 highlights of the season for us in the ballpark. That's yeah, exactly, Billy. That's correct.
That's exactly where my mind went. I was like, when you said
I thought we were getting
gerbil,
the story time already. I thought that's where we were going with this.
Prairie dogs, whatever. Sorry, jeez.
Well, I thought you were talking about something totally different. I didn't think it was.
No. We'll do that when we're like this. That won't come in year 1. It'll come in year 7 of Chris Getz's GM-ship. He's like, hey, everybody, here's the gerbil. If you don't know,
I am worried. I am worried about Beef, though. I'm worried about Beef going over to Cubs fandom.
No way.
He was saying earlier, maybe we should name this podcast From the 108 and the Bleachers. And I was like,
I was even sitting in the bleachers, you cocksucker.
I don't know about that. And then he was like, when he sat down, he still had on a Ronnie Wu jersey. And he took that off.
Ronnie Wu was inches from me. I could fucking smell him when I was in Sports Corner afterwards.
You might have. I don't know.
I could have, you know.
Bums in the bleachers. And we could just use that song that Chris and Jim, is it Jim? No, it's Ed. Chris and Ed use, you know, the bums in the bleachers, you know, like that. Man, that's a fun one. We could do that. And it would be a whole new Cubs podcast. The other thing that hasn't happened recently.
I don't know what he's talking about. But anyway, I'm upset, heartbroken, and I didn't think I could get worse today. And then, obviously a lot of stuff happened. Treasy, how you been, my friend?
Not great.
Not great.
I just want to say, 44% of you. All right? It's my birthday yesterday. It was my birthday yesterday. Yeah, I did vote for myself. It was my birthday yesterday. That's why I said 44%. I'm 1.1%.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Beef, you posted, before this poll went up, you posted, happy birthday to my baby brother.
Yes.
Inferring that I am younger than you, which I am.
Correct. Which you are. Yeah, absolutely.
And still, I pull 44% of this vote. But what is the most bullshit? What is the most bullshit? Is that my sock summer only at 17%?
I know why that is. I know why that is, actually. And it
Why?
has nothing to do with the way we look necessarily. My sock summer is young kids. And so it kind of like tricks you into thinking he's not almost 50 years old. Like I think there's a little bit of a dragging effect there to that case. Because I don't think materially we look any much like I think we look in the pocket of like around the same age. And so like to me it's like a coin flip. You know, like
We kinda are
pick
in
the
the
we
pocket
are the same age basically. Right? You know, like you and I are a year apart basically. MSS. You know, and
yeah,
but still it's like but I think that helps you in a poll like that because you're always you got the small kids. Right? It's like guy can't be that old. And it's like, fuck yeah, he is, man. Don't worry about it.
You know what I think it is? I think it's that MSS is such a whiny bitch that like people are like, he must be like a millennial. Like he has to be.
Yes. I do have a baby
face
face.
for an old man.
I appreciate that, Barry. You're true. As long as if you don't get too close to me and then you see all the fucking crow's feet and everything. That's why I wear sunglasses all the time. Like all the time. It's like, dude, it's dark outside. Why are your sunglasses on? Like, don't worry about it, youngster.
Don't look at me.
Stop.
Well, that's all I had to say. That's all
That's
I
all
had
you
to say,
had to
though.
say.
That's it. Fuck it.
MSS, why don't you pay some bills for us?
Happy birthday, Chirizi. I hope that you had a great 50th birthday party.
Fuck you.
The times, they are a-changing. As we welcome in the Chris Getz era on the south side, maybe it's time to make some changes in your garage. And Mazda of Orland Park is here to usher in the new wave of plug-in electric vehicles. Introducing the 2024 CX-90 plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, the first Mazda that is a 3-row SUV. The CX-90 PHEV, that's the fancy way of saying plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, can run all electric with a 26-mile range for quick trips around a flexible hybrid system of combustion and electric for longer journeys. It's a great solution to It's a great solution to It's a great solution to the rising gas prices. It's an SUV without guzzling all that gas, plus you're helping the environment. You'll deserve an award for driving this bad boy. Visit MazdaRollandPark.com to get all the specs and details on the new CX-90 PHEV. Whether you're from the Chicagoland area, Northwest Indiana, or Southeast Wisconsin, they would love to have you visit and test drive a Mazda today. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom. And you wonder why
Great job.
things.
Great job.
Timothy Marks
Very
says, see, of course MSS is the youngest. He's reading at a first grade level.
Which one are we doing here, Chirizi?
We're not doing anything. I was just gonna announce that Chris Getz is the new GM of the White Sox, and the senior vice president of baseball, something or other. But so we got the press conference today, and we'll get into that in a minute. I'm gonna play a clip here from Jerry for you guys, and I want just a bit of your reaction to it. I thought of something myself when I heard this. But I want to hear your reactions as well. So here it goes. And I did speed it up just a little bit so it's not insanely slow like he talks.
Don't loop it.
And if I had gone outside, it would have taken anybody at least a year to evaluate the organization and to get familiar with all the people that were in it. And that would mean that this year would not be a year of great progress. I had in Chris, who I spent hours talking to, somebody who is intimately familiar with the organization, who knows who the good people are and who the medium people are and who the bad people are. So he's going to be able to step in and start running right away. We have a core in this team that can get better in a hurry. We can improve in a hurry. And Chris can start to do the things he wants to do right away. If I brought somebody in from the outside, just to repeat, it would have taken a year. I could have brought Branch Rickey back, and it would have taken him a year to evaluate the organization.
Bitch, stop lying.
Other than resurrecting,
Come on.
other than resurrecting the dead, Beef. What's a major takeaway from what he just said?
That he sincerely believes that Chris Getz will get this done. There's like a year faster than someone else that he would hire from the outside, which I don't understand why he picks that timeline or how he even decides on that or what.
I mean, It's just insanity.
That's just some made up bullshit. That's just like
He's like, we would have lost a year, but yet I spent hours with
exactly.
hours, literally hours, talking about this, making a huge ass decision based on something you talked to this guy about for hours. I mean, that's terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. And it's just what? Go ahead.
I'm just thinking of him writing up this list. like he writes up the list and then he's like, oh, the only person living on this list is Chris Getz.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. I was going to ask how many people on Jerry's fake list that he kept referencing were actually alive. How many people were actually guys that are working right now?
One. He called all the other guys on the list and got disconnected numbers because they've been dead for 50 years.
Lou Brown. No shit, he was an actor. He's dead.
Ian's right. He did reference at one point that his favorite player last 20 years is David Eckstein. This could be part of the problem. Why the Sox aren't any good.
Well, I said
you know what I need? Terrible players.
Give me that guy who sucks at everything. I put him in there. That's who I like.
I sent that message to our 108 season ticket holder traps, and it was like, Jerry's still in the world where it costs a dime to get into a movie and you could get popcorn for 5 cents. And like, you had a quarter on Sundays and you were living large, right? I mean, this is where he's at because all his references fall like way out there. And it's
Branch
just,
Rickey?
I mean, and he brought up like, hey, you know,
What he was trying to do there, Treasy, was to bring back to him as a fan and try to connect with Sox fans that way, but it didn't come close to working. Like that, I think that was the approach right there. It was like, hey, you know what? When I was in love with baseball as a young person or whatever, it didn't make it.
But that's the problem. Is that it's like it's such an antiquated idea. It's like, let me think of the best possible guy that I could come up with. And he comes up with a guy who died in the 60s, right? Like, I mean, like, it's wild. Like, and I know what Branch Rickey contributed to the game, and, like, I'm not trying to, slander him, but I'm trying to make the point that was, like, 70 years ago. And, like, to try and tell people, like, oh, I could have brought in a guy like this. No, you couldn't have. And if you did, that guy would be fucking terrible now.
Right.
Like, all of it is just insane. But what I thought, what the one thing that I took away from that is that he actually believes, or at least he's telling us he believes, that Chris Getz can walk in tomorrow and start making moves, start making changes. And the fact that tomorrow is September 1st, he actually has that opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
Like, so if I'm being a positive person, which you guys know, I'm a very optimistic, positive person. I would have to look and say, I'm going to give Chris Getz a chance, but since he's going to hit the ground running because he knows the org, because he knows all the players all throughout the org, and because they want to turn this around rapidly, I need something out of the box tomorrow. When he brings up guys, it can't be Remillard and Perez, and you don't move anyone else around. You can't. Right. That can't be it. If this guy's going to turn it around fast. So, like, when I looked at that, I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'm hearing what you're saying, Jerry. In between all the stupid shit that you're saying that Chris Getz is the best option to turn this around by next year and win this division, right? And if he Pretty much. I need some shit like Brian Ramos playing third base on this weekend. Right?
Tomorrow, right?
I need Nick Nastrini pitching for this team in September, right? I need Yasmani Grandal to be as far away from this fucking team as possible. I need Lenine Sosa playing every goddamn day. Elvis Andrus just being a backup, right? Like, those are the things I need if you're going to tell me that you're turning it around this goddamn quick. Because otherwise, you ain't got nothing.
No.
You ain't got nothing to show. Like, we know what's out on the field, and it ain't good.
And he made it also very clear that if things don't work out, it is solely Chris's Getz's fault. Because he said that will be Chris's decision.
Yep.
Is he going to get somebody to come help him? That will be Chris's decision. Are you going to spend more money in the offseason? That will be Chris's decision. And then he also said, everyone says we didn't spend a lot of money, but we spent $185 million, I think, this year. That's like, okay, great. But, you could have spent maybe a little more, or maybe you didn't even spend that much. I don't even know if that's the correct number. But, it's just...
It's not anymore after they dumped everybody.
I was going to say, that was the starting payroll, not the ending payroll,
So
they tried to get rid of $4 million on Mike Clevenger seconds before
awesome.
he said that. I mean, it didn't work. No one picked him up, but still.
Yeah.
He was trying to shave payroll moments before he even trotted that 185 out there.
He also said, we finally have the minor leagues playing the kind of baseball that I want them to play. And apparently Jerry has wanted the minor league system to not develop talent and just to kind of suck, but know what to do in a double steal, fucking movement, right? Where you're supposed to throw the ball. Because he doesn't mention any fucking, there was no victories, oh, hey, you see how he turned this guy's career around, or how he he brought this guy up quickly.
Jerry likes the farm system to be dead last in run differential, because that's what they are. The Sox farm is dead last in run differential in the major leagues. So that's the kind of farm system he likes. He wants it built exactly like that, apparently.
They were 30th or something, right? Until they traded and brought in all these other prospects from other teams.
The ranking,
and then the ranking went up to 20.
Yeah.
So
they're
a little better. They're a little bit better now, but not because of anything that Chris Getz has done. And then Jerry also says, "Well, this is it. They're playing the right way they're supposed to be doing." But he goes then says, "But he wasn't the one that drafted all these players, so it's not really his fault that some of these guys just don't work." What? You can't say that. He's been there for 7 years.
So the bifurcation, I know. So I did notice that they brought that up. It's very clear that they were saying Nick Hostetler fucking sucked at drafting, and Mike Shirley is much better. Now, I think that is the kind of the consensus out on the street as well. And you notice the Shirley drafts have already yielded a couple of top 100 prospects quick out of those first-round picks. Noah Schultz and Colson Montgomery have shot to those spots, right?
Yeah.
Those are late first-round picks. So there could be some credence to this. But that's the only thing you can really pick out about his farm system. Because you're right. They haven't brought up shit to the majors that's become much of anything.
Let's get some drinks in real quick, and then I have a question for you guys. So Jerry O'Sullivan says, Jerry has proved he is Mr. Burns. Cheers, boys. And he says, there's a new Mexico? Barry says, who wants to come over to my house one day and listen to records and play some arcade games and get drunk? I'll even provide the beer.
Cheers.
Barry.
Cheers, Barry.
I got to say, I would assume you were providing the beer in this situation, but I appreciate the invite. Cheers. All right. Chuck says, hate to say I told you so, but I hope this was an intentional but. And you didn't get cut off doing something else. But
no, you know what? Chuck, I love you, and I hope you've recovered. I'm going to kick you in the nuts. I'm going to kick my Sox Summer in the nuts, and Jared Ingersoll also will get kicked in the nuts for that shit. You guys did all call it.
They did. I'm mad. And that first thing.
What other things have you cried about that you were incredibly wrong about there, Loaf? Thanks, Drew.
One more drink here.
You, Drew.
Cheers, Drew. It was good to see you as well, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, more drinks.
Yes.
God bless America.
Oh man, I love it. Good thing I didn't forget about this one. This guy will kill you. So this is from Jordan. He says, that sounded like a nervous student giving a class speech. Who's
sure
the
did.
avid bridge player of the 108?
I like backgammon. If anyone wants to play backgammon, I'm interested in that. No bridge though.
So crazy enough, we do know a guy whose father is one of the best bridge players in the country, which is a strange thing to know. But I think that's all the drinks for now.
Interesting.
I do have a question for you guys. Because Getz knows who all the medium rare people are in the org and who all the bad people are.
The bad people. The bad dudes.
Who are these bad dudes?
Yep.
And is he going to fire them? Are they getting fired? Front office or team, give me someone who's getting fired into the sun before the end of next month.
Oh, I'll give you just one. It's Nick Hostetler, who I've already mentioned. He's going to be gone. He was a special assistant to the GM. I'm guessing he was Han's guy, because when we heard Mike Shirley come on, everyone's like, oh, that's a Kenny guy taking over that spot. He's been decent with the drafts. The Hostetler drafts fucking sucked. Hostetler now, I think, is doing pro scouting. He's fucking gone. He's one of the first guys whose ass is going to be out the door.
I love it.
Okay.
And do it quick.
Do it
quick.
tomorrow. Do that shit tomorrow.
I'm going to go along the same lines as you because Jerry, one of the first things Jerry said, they're like, well, this has been a disappointing season, but we had so many injuries. So I think the strength and conditioning coach is going to be gone. And then
that's a new hire too, isn't it? That's like a brand new hire, I believe.
I think you need to dump that person. Or because he also said, we're going to send guys off with a plan. It's a major league thing. Guys go with the plan, but we're actually going to follow up with these guys to make sure they actually do it.
That cracked me up when he said that.
What the motherfuck? Seriously. Clearly, how long have we told, you've known this, right? When Carlos Rodon came back and was, firing off all cylinders, and it was just because Ethan Katz was like, hey, quit eating fucking McDonald's every fucking minute, and you'll probably be decent, you'll be better. And then they're like, oh, hey, you know what? That worked. Oh, working out? That worked.
That was on my list too.
This comment is from Will Thrasher. He says, "Whoever the international scouting director is will be gone for sure." Gets alluded to reevaluating that. That's Marco Patti.
And,
he's I think that's a guy we argued about with our friends over at Sons of Anarchy, last year. Yeah. And it's like, hey, done. He just signs old Cubans, and he has no access to anyone else. If Chris Getz came in here, Beef, and did nothing else.
Yeah,
but established a team in the Dominican Republic, really made a footprint there, I would not hate his GM brand.
Yeah, that would be enormous, right?
If he were able to get Jerry to do that, if that was one of his things, maybe no one has we all talk about it, right? We all talk about it, how have no one made the business case to Jerry? Dude, it's way cheaper if we get guys from here. This is this. Exactly. You want the cheapest route? This is it. Yeah.
Here's a spreadsheet. We'll show you how this works. All right, you get these guys. Great.
Loaf. You're gonna have to whiteboard that motherfucker. You can't just give him a spreadsheet and expect him to read it. You have to whiteboard it and show it to him. Also, off the cuff, weird firing that could potentially happen. Ethan Katz. I feel like him and Pedro are definitely not on the same page all the time, and he seems very confused by what Pedro's doing and vice versa. I think they might have to get rid of him. Jerry also alluded to that they spent a lot of money on arms this year, so they didn't have to worry about pitching for next year. And it's no, it's not really how it works. I think it was Guffey that asked him that, are you going to replace some of these pitchers? He's like, yeah, through some means, I suppose, but man, we spent a lot of money on pitching.
Which they did actually. That's where kind of the money was at. But
they did.
That's a good call, MSS, because Ethan Katz was the guy that was pushed on Pedro, right? Pedro didn't have that choice as far as picking him, so it wouldn't surprise me if now he's got his boy Chris Getz in there. He gets a little more autonomy to do something. A couple more guys, Treasy, that I think could go. Todd Steverson is somehow still on the payroll. He was special assistant to Kenny. He's gone for sure. That guy, there's no way that guy's sticking around. And you know what? I'm curious if they fired Debo. I think I saw in the comments someone's like, they might fire Debo now, because allegedly he was boys with KW. Now maybe he goes. So I think you can see some heads rolling. I kind of want to see it. Not that I always want to see people get whacked out, but show us you're doing something. I agree with you, Treasy. If Getz is your man because he can get to things faster, fucking get to them. Let's start doing it.
Yeah. What about Montoyo? That was such a weird hire. That's one where you couldn't go we talked to Pedro. He doesn't know this guy. He didn't want him in here.
Right.
It got forced on him. Can he bring in someone that he likes?
Luis Robert doesn't know him either.
That's true.
That's true. You didn't know his name. You're right.
Start doing some of these things.
Who's this guy in the clubhouse with us with the uniform on? I don't know this guy. Come on.
One thing, as we continue talking about Jerry a little bit here before we fully get into the Getz presser, one thing that Jerry said during his discussion with the media that really fucked me up a little bit, or it should fuck up Chris Getz a little bit too, is that Jerry still believed that Kenny and Rick could turn it around. Yeah. He needed outside influence to push him to say that they should be out of there. And that's how it laid, right? My Sox Summer, he basically said he thought he still believed in them. And when he interviewed everyone and examined the choices, some of it was keep one of them and fire the other one, or keep them both, And then he goes, he ended up landing on firing both because he had enough people tell him, look, the record's the record with these guys doing it, and it's not good. You just got to know it's over. So the fact that he was still thinking, no, everything's fine until someone outside fucking told him is like frightening to me.
Yeah. No,
Well,
he also
and then he was in charge of hiring the next guy.
Yes. He called Kenny Williams Kenny, and he called Rick Hahn Rick Hahn. Like he doesn't have a lot of love for Rick, like clearly, because we kept calling him. I want to make sure that Rick Hahn could get out there and get another job. I wanted to make sure that Kenny knew I still loved him, and that I'm still his father. As weird as that sounds, I'm still his dad, but I had to fire him. Oof.
So let me ask you guys a quick question, and this is obviously not serious, but do you think that when he made that list, Rick and Kenny were on it?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe bring one of these guys back. I haven't seen them in years.
This won't even cause a blip because they already work here. So maybe this is a good hire.
They'll be appreciative to get a job in this.
We'll just put them in a different office. We'll be like the Catholic Church. We just shuffle those priests. No one will even know.
Around. No one will know.
They would never even know. Like, they're fine. They'll stop on their own. No worries.
All right, so I kind of got into what I would want to see out of Chris Getz immediately to give me a little bit of confidence. What could, I'm not talking about him turning the team around completely. What would turn him around in your mind and give you a little bit of confidence in a hiring that you just don't feel good about right now? And Beef, I'll start with you.
I think it's a combination of things. We mentioned up front whacking out some people who probably need to go and kind of relieving people of their duties. I would also be impressed if he did some hiring. If he went out there and hired some people underneath him that are like well-regarded, well thought of, and started building up kind of a staff there to line up behind what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that he's different. He's going to be different. That's kind of what he led the presser with, which was the only statement in the presser that was like kind of interesting or fun. Because once it got to questions time, it looked like he was going to shit himself. I think Jordan Miller put that comment out there. He looked like a nervous kid. He looked so nervous. Like, you're 40, man. You've spoken in front of people before, I would think. Like, what are you so fucking nervous for? Just spit it out and tell us something. So it's a combination of those things. On the player personnel side, Treasy, I would really love to see him take a hard stance on somebody or a couple somebodies. I don't know. Everyone claims they know who's the troublemaker in the clubhouse, who's this, who's that, or whatever. I want to see him turn the roster over, and I want him to see him do it in short order. Now, he might not be able to do it in the next month. This might be a winter meetings or whatever. But if he's very transactional and aggressive, that would excite me a lot. Even if I don't love the trades that he makes or the transactions that he makes, because it would be the polar opposite of Rick Hahn. Rick Hahn sat on his fucking hands for the better part of 10 years. And when he got to a point where our roster was like, we know we got some problems here. You got to figure a way out of it. He never did. He was just like, just have a career year. Just get better. And it was never action. I think whether or not we like the action or not, I think from Chris Getz, I need to see a lot of action, a lot of transactions.
To kind of go on that to a certain extent within the minor leagues, which is he was the king of apparently. I would like him to provide some specific examples on how they're going to develop talent differently and what they're doing. Maybe make a big splash with a hire somewhere down there, or say, hey, we're going to say specifically, we're going to put this money into this, or we're going to put money in. We've shown that we can't do this, so we need to fix it by doing this, and we're using a proven source, and these are the results that this proven source has sold before. Not giving me this fired up, rah-rah bullshit, and give me legit reasons on how it's going to happen. You're like, listen, we're starting Project Birmingham. Okay, well, what's Project Birmingham? I don't know. We're going to have a bunch of guys down there, and they're going to play fucking baseball. And no, they're all going to be together, though. So we don't have to move them around a lot. They'll just be right there. We can just grab them, okay? And if they need to come up, they come up. They go down, go down. That's what I'm saying. No, this coach is really good at getting these guys, put into the right positions to win baseball games and all this shit. Like, I just want specific shit, because the pressers today was the same old bullshit. We have failed. We are going to do better. Okay, how are you going to do better? Not by signing Shohei Ohtani.
We're gonna evaluate. We're gonna evaluate everything. Is what he kept saying. Like,
that's
like
total
you told us
horseshit.
nothing.
You're gonna evaluate everything, but not the coach. Like, okay. But MSS, I like what you're saying, because I think that there's a reason that he would do it too, right? Because if we all look at him and go, you failed to develop the talent. You were in charge of this. You were in charge of player development. You failed to develop talent. The only reason your farm system popped up recently was because you made a bunch of trades. go and make a change and say, I wanted to do this all along. They wouldn't let me. I'm doing this now. Now that I'm in charge,
Right.
I'm doing this. Because it not only goes, okay, I'm different. I want to do something different. I'm showing you what I'm doing. It also goes, hey, it wasn't my fault.
Right.
My hands were tied. It's the whole Rick Hahn thing. Like, why not just follow in that footsteps but actually do something then? You know,
Right.
like it. And so it would be the best of both worlds for him, right? Like it shows he's doing something, and it shows, oh man, they didn't let me do what I wanted to do before, and that's why I failed. Not because of me. I'm not a failure.
Yeah. You have all these great ideas, but no one let me do them. So, yeah.
I mean, that would definitely buy him some time, Treasy, at least with some of the fan base. Some of the fan base is never going to buy in on this until they start winning on the field. But I guess for people that are a little more obsessed, like us who are paying attention, it will buy him some goodwill early on. Because right now, at the presser, like, I put a tweet out. I was like, Pedro Grafal won the presser, even though I thought his presser sucked, and I pointed it out immediately. Getz is not getting that adoration. He's not getting his roses. Most people think his presser kind of sucked, which it did kind of suck, but, you know, at least people are being honest about, like, okay. But I think it's just an overarching thing about the whole team and the fact that it was an insular hire. And he's got a lot to prove for a lot of fans.
I think that if there's one question in that press conference that if he would have answered well, he could have got a lot more out of the audience. People would have believed in him a lot more. And it was like the first question out of the gates. I think it was Vinny Duber, who basically asked him, like, you've said you're guys, you come from the same org, you've been here for a while, what's different? And he said nothing. He said,
right.
I've obviously, you know, worked at one other org as an executive. I came up through this org, and that obviously shapes me. And it's like, so you're saying you're like these guys? Like, you're not. Say something. Say something you think of materially different than those guys, right? Like, say that you want more left-handed hitters, even if it's something arbitrary like that, right?
Right.
Like, just
At least
say
the difference.
something that's like, oh, you know what? I want to go out in a free agency and get a right fielder. I don't think that we have what we need for a great outfield. Fine.
That's great.
Say it. Say anything. Say anything that's different than what's here.
Chuck says Branch Rickey was bad at press conferences too, so that's okay. Maybe it's a good thing. Then I was thinking about that too, though. It's funny he's making the comment there. I was thinking maybe it's good that he's kind of a nervous wreck and his answers kind of stink or whatever. Because I don't like. I feel like we get fooled by people that are like too polished and ready with an answer there. Like we got to the point where mostly all the fan base was like, "Oh man, fuck Rick Hahn and his bullshit pre-canned bullshit answers here." And this guy. He didn't tell you anything, but he looked nervous as shit up there, like he's got something that he wants to do. Like, I could tell when some of those questions, and he's sweating and everything, I was like, he knows he's going to fire some motherfuckers. And he just can't say it right now, but he knows who he's going to clip out of this. We're going to meet with everyone. We're going to meet with all the players. And I'm like, you know what players you want to get rid of already, man. You meet with them, it's just like sealing their goddamn fate. So I'm hopeful from that respect, Treasy. But I don't know, like, materially, is he any better than anybody else? Like, he just seems like a generic ass baseball executive to me.
Like, to the T, right place, right time for him. I mean, literally, like he couldn't be in a better position.
Right.
Like he was just there, which is really beneficial when the hiring guy is Jerry Reinsdorf, who doesn't fire anybody and also only hires people that he sees for a couple hours. So it's good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think overall, we're obviously against the way that this went down, and this hire is not what any of us wanted to see. I think we had multiple podcasts now where we said kind of what we wanted to see, the type of person we wanted. We gave some examples. None of them were this. And so I think,
hey,
honestly, I think we're being fair right now with
are.
him. I think we are
I do
giving
too.
some like, hey, do these things, and we'll start to come around. We'll at least give you a chance. But like, if you don't do anything, if you're just Rick Hahn for the rest of this season, like, I have no faith in you. I have no faith in anything happening.
I mean, I guess one thing that's potentially encouraging with Getz is that he convinced Jerry to hire him. And he convinced him to let him be the single voice. He had a guy up there who was his son, who he did not allow to be the single voice. It was him and Han, right, for all these years. And this is someone he like considers family and shit. But this other guy was able to convince him, no, I should be the guy who's just your one goddamn voice here. So maybe, just maybe, he could be a little more influential on the chairman than the last group was, where they didn't always get him to spend as much as we needed to, or address things that needed to be done. Yeah. So, you know what, could be a long shot, but I don't know. It strikes me as possible.
So, hey, before we get to Zoe's drink here real quick, Ian put up this quote, and he says, I'm actually kind of surprised. He said, Pedro is back. Imagine getting your dream job and then being tied to Pedro effing Grifol. Ha ha. I brought this up with these guys, too, and it said, I'm really starting to think that Pedro was just as much Getz's call as it was Rick Hahn's call. And Getz might have pulled some fucking Jedi mind shit on Rick Hahn and said, you want to hire this guy. This guy is really good. You should try him. I swear to Christ, it would not shock me in the least if there was a coup, like A.J. Brzezinski said, where Getz was like, Pedro, I got your ass, and I'm going to get these motherfuckers out, and I got the dirt. So don't you worry about it. I got you, my buddy. So all I need is a confirmation from Chris Getz that he's a big Jesus guy and loves Fleetwood Mac, and then I'm good. I know that
loves Fleetwood Mac, but doesn't know any of the songs.
He doesn't.
Yeah. As long as he's like, I like dreams, rumors. I don't know. Fuck.
All right.
Thanks, so.
Father Zoe, thank you. He says, rest in peace to all the Han and Kenny memes, videos, and pictures. Cheers.
You said rest in peace, which is absolutely perfect. Thank you, man.
Sorry, I've been drinking.
Me too.
Just want to make sure you caught that joke in there. It's a good one.
All right, fellas. Let's move off Chris Getz here. I think we've thoroughly covered what we're gonna see out of Chris Getz and what we need to see out of him. Let's get into a new section here. We're gonna call it "Do You Believe It?" And Beef, I'm gonna kick it to you. I'm gonna start with Lenine Sosa.
Yeah, let's examine a few players here that have some recent performance that I want to evaluate. So Lenine Sosa is first on here. And so just to update you guys, Lenine Sosa's first 70 plate appearances of the season were absolutely ghastly. That was before his demotion mid-year. He was hitting 132 with a 145 on base and 221 slugging percentage. He had a negative 11 WRC plus, absolutely awful. But since he's been recalled in August, Lenine Sosa has 45 plate appearances. He's hitting 279 with a 279 on base percentage. That means 0 walks there, Treasy. But he's slugging 558. He's got 4 home runs and 9 RBI since coming back up. 123 WRC plus. My question for you guys is, do you believe in Lenine Sosa's numbers post call-up? Is this the new norm, Treasy? What do you think?
So I mean, there's reasons to not believe in it, right? There's reasons like the lack of walks that you're seeing, and like how long can a guy continue to hit well in the majors if he can't take a walk, right? Like it's people do it. It's very, very difficult, right? But you know, I was watching you, Beef, on White Sox Daily the other day on Monday, and Ian was saying, you know, like this guy takes a little while to get it going, right? Like it's kind of like we all know the feeling, you know. You've had a couple two, three cocktails, and it takes you a little while to get warmed up, right? Like so, I think you know Lenine Sosa is apparently like that with each level that he plays at. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here and say that like that first run was just him getting into it and understanding how things go on this level, and he's starting to understand. I believe it enough to say he has to start every day for the rest of the season, unless he needs like a day off. Or he's
materially. Yeah.
But he needs to start every day, and you need to see this be consistent for the rest of the season for you to say you get to compete for second base next year. We're not going to sign 2 guys next year. Like that's right. That's all it buys you, in my opinion. Yeah. Like you are signing a second baseman next year. Because if you're not, I mean, damn it, Chris Getz, you're a second baseman. You should know. You need to fill that position. So like I would want to see a lot more run for him at the end of the season here, which I think we're gonna get. But like it will be very annoying if he's splitting time with Elvis Andrus. Yes. Because I think that this little streak has earned him You just get to play every day, and we get to see what you are.
MSS, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something to be said for the pressure is completely off this team. You don't have to go out there to win something.
Right.
Why he couldn't do it at the beginning of the season versus why he can do it now, that could be part of the reason too. Like, there's too many expectations on him at the beginning of the season, and some guys fold under pressure when it comes to that. When you're out there just trying to have fun and getting rid of that clubhouse cancer, Lucas Giolito probably made things a lot more fun. And not having Jake Berger there to like hit home runs is probably like makes it a lot cooler to like get out there and do it yourself. So I mean, I'm gonna say that I don't necessarily think that this is like, maybe there's like a happy medium between the two, right? But also, yes, don't come out and continually fucking like slob fucking Romy's nuts, and on a position and make this guy go, well, what the fuck? I'm busting my ass over here, and this motherfucker's getting all. It's just like, come on, let's let Lenine go do what he's got to do. Like, give him. He should be out there. I agree with you, Chirizi. He should be out there for every game the rest of this year, as long as he's healthy and fine. And no more Elvis Andrus. I'm fine. He can go away. We don't need to sign some aging second base guy in the offseason. Let's just see what we can do.
One encouraging thing about Lenine Sosa is that his barrel percentage is well above league average. So that means when he does make contact, he's making some good contact. At least that's an encouraging thing. But agreed, Treasy. It's tough to live in the major leagues with a career 1% walk rate. No players really do. No regulars really have that at all.
I get the idea that there's guys that hit the ball and they don't walk a lot. I mean, Tim Anderson is a good example. But you see with Tim Anderson, right? Like, I think that's the example we should, as Sox fans, be focusing on, right? It's like, as soon as the athleticism, as soon as the hit tool slips slightly, because you don't have the other things, it falls apart. And, like, you can't be in that position, right? Like, you can't be counting on Lenine Sosa for 15 home runs in a season and get 6. Like, that can't happen. Yeah. And, like, that's the problem. If you're not a complete hitter, if you're just, like, you have this excellence at hitting so much that it doesn't matter if you walk, that fades. And that's what's worrisome about a guy like that. And so I want to see him at least be a little bit more well-rounded at the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next player up is one that I've taken a lot of shit for over the years, and that's Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, boys, since July 1st, is struggling mightily. 6.32 ERA over 57 innings and 11 starts. That's 5 walks per 9 for him, Treasy. And he is floating a 389 BABIP, but it's fueled by a 27% line drive rate against, which is really high. League average is 20%. Dylan Cease, let me just read off to you. That's his since July. He's having kind of a bad year this year in total. Let me just read off to his ERA pluses for his career. In 2019, when he was a rookie, and he shouldn't have been here, as you've always highlighted my Sox summer, it was just too early for him. 79 ERA plus, that is 21% below league average. 2020, he was at 111. 2021, he was at 112. 2022, which was last year, that's Cy Cease year when he finished second in Cy Young, 180. That's a tremendous number, 80% above league average. This year, all the way down to 90 ERA plus. My question for you guys, and I'll let my Sox summer start, is Cy Cease gone forever? Did we get the one career year out of him, and now he's kind of a average-ish starting pitcher?
I mean, not the year to suck, right? Like, this is just not how you want to go into this entire year. Now, do we think that there's anybody is Pedro above? Like, when they try to get horses, like, people fuck with horses all the time in horse racing. Like, they dope them. They put stuff in their water. They put stuff in sugar cubes and feed it to them. Is Pedro above going and then putting, like, something in his drink to, like, fuck him up for the whole year so that the Sox can sign him cheaper? Like, I'm not.
It's not a contract though, so it's still a ways away.
I'm just saying. They're just trying to, like, beat him up. They're like, and he's never gonna resign. He's with this guy. Blah blah blah. He's never gonna come back. And then fucking he has a shit year. Like, just takes a big shit after, like, a great year, like an unbelievable year. I think. This could be another case where why Ethan Katz is going to get canned because, hey, he had Lucas Giolito go from good to bad to, like, okay. So we'll see if we can get Dylan to bounce back next year. I'm not willing to throw in the towel on Dylan Cease. I think a lot of the stuff is still there. I think he's going to get it. It's just been a really, really hard year for him. Just has not performed like he should.
Teresa, how about you, my friend?
Beef, I think you and I slightly disagree on Dylan Cease, because Dylan Cease does one thing that is extremely valuable in this game. And this goes to things you've said about Michael Kopech as well. The thing that he does that's super valuable is he misses bats. Like, he could still do that. He still has stuff. He could still strike guys out. The problem we're seeing this year is that he doesn't have the control that he had in his best years, right? And when you could talk about seeing it in the walks, and you see it a bit in the walks, right? Like, you think about the ratio that he has right now, strikeout to walk, is almost like a half of a strikeout lower than last year. But where you really see it, and you alluded to it, is in the hits. He's had this problem for a long time. He's more wild in the zone than he is throwing walks. Right. And it's always that four-seamer up in the zone, and it's like, oh God, that's gonna get crushed, right? And that's where you see these like amazing line drives going through the infield, and that's where high BABIPs come from, right? Like, so I think that there is something to it where I feel like he can do the most difficult part if someone can help him with the control. If someone can help him rein in that control, which I know is also difficult. Like, I'm not saying he can become Greg Maddux next year, right? And
right. He's always been a guy who walks a lot of people, right?
But if he could just rein it in a little bit, he's easier number two. He's a solid number two, a really good number three, if he can rein in that control just a touch, just enough, And it's different than a guy like Kopech, where Kopech is still being like 2019 Cease, where it's like, oh my God, how's this guy going to get out of an inning? This is just, I've been here forever. Like that kind of thing is still with Kopech. I think Cease.
Yeah, Kopech since July 1, Treasy, 8 walks per 9 innings. Like, awful, like just a horrendous ratio.
Yeah, and even when he's not walking guys, he spends so many pitches per batter. It's insanity. But yeah, Cease, I don't know. I want to see Cease rein in that control, and if he can, there's a lot of value in a guy like that because he can miss bats.
All right, so you guys both seem to be believers. I'm not sure. I feel like we might have just a slightly above league average pitcher going forward. I think we got the one great Cease here. We shall see, though. We'll see. He'll get a chance.
You're wrong.
Cheers
again.
to you, Southside bum.
Cheers, Johnny. Appreciate you. Last one. We got to clear the decks. My absolute favorite. I've never ever said anything bad about this guy. Andrew Vaughn. Boys, Andrew Vaughn has stopped walking. This is since July 1st. Andrew Vaughn, who is not hitting well since July 1st, 259 batting average, 282 on base, 373 slug. That's a 77 WRC plus. However, the headline is 1.8% walk rate. Since July 1st, he's struck out 40 times. Treasy has 3 walks total. Why has Andrew Vaughn stopped walking, Treasy?
I think he's just not getting I think the best way to say it is pitchers are attacking him. They're not afraid of him, so they're attacking him. And so when you go up there and they're throwing you mostly strikes and you can't do anything with it, and even with a 338 BABIP, you're barely getting on base above 300, this is on you. You're not hitting. It's not so much that he's not being selective, it's that he cannot hit the pitches that are being thrown to him. And so the walks are bad. Like, you should be walking more than that. But if they're throwing you strikes, it's not like he's just like chasing everything on earth.
No, he's not an impatient hitter, right?
Just being attacked by pitchers, and he can't beat the pitchers. And like, I don't know what you do to combat it, because like Gavin Sheets ain't gonna scare him out of his position.
No.
I mean, okay. Here's if you want something out of the box. If Chris Getz wants to stir the pot, he wants to show that he's been developing guys. Bring Tim Elko up at the end of the season. Take Yasmani, you're out of here. All the DH. We're putting Eloy in the outfield. We're giving a bunch of DH at bats to Tim Elko. Well, let's just see what happens.
The comments have been there with you. Ian says, "Let's go, Tim
I love
Elko,"
it.
and Wayne says,
Wayne
"Tim
is
Elko,
good.
taller, no walks." Yeah, he is taller and doesn't
6'4".
walk. That's correct. He's a big boy. Tim Elko, a big
Yeah.
boy. MSS, what do you think? Why is Andrew Vaughn not walking?
Hey, because he's not good. I mean, I loved you and Ken WO talking about him on the Aju on Monday.
Thank you, my friend.
And Ken saying, we were allowed to believe that this guy was no good because he was in grass. Like, he was going to do better when he was in dirt. And, like, that is not true. That is not really. He has not come around, and he's what I feel like how Terezi's going to judge Getz. Like you said you were good, and everyone thinks you're so good, and you should hit the ground running. So we're not being unfair on Andrew Vaughn because everyone, he said it, we said it. You should be better than what you were doing. I don't know. I don't think Andrew Vaughn is as complete of a player as people like to say he is. And I think he also thinks he knows better than what everybody else does. I would like to see him get challenged by a hitting coach, get in there. And I've heard he does his work, like that he goes in, but maybe he needs to stop believing that he has the right answer and listen to somebody else because he's not changing. And if you're declining as the season goes on, there's something wrong. Maybe you need to get your endurance better. Maybe you should be healthy, working out more. Maybe all these other things. Like, it's not just like, like there's just so many fucking things you need to be thinking about. And that's your fucking job. So go back to the drawing board this offseason and fucking figure out why at the end of the season you're fucking dropping off when we're trying to be, and God help us, if we were in a playoff hunt right now and we were fucking had to go in with fucking Andrew Vaughn, like declining, this is when you should be going up, right? Like, you need to start helping the team, and to be the leader on this team, you need to fucking figure it out. So Andrew Vaughn, it's your ass. It's your ass this year, fucking motherfucker.
I love that, and but I do have a question for you guys
Yes.
that came up to me while you were doing that. If one of us references something that was said on the Aju, do we still have to drink? Is that a drink?
I think so.
It's a drink.
Yeah, I think we had to drink there. That was thank you,
Cheers.
MSS. Appreciate that.
That's fair.
And I should bring it back up there that Chuck says this week's Aju was great. Yeah, Ken W.O. was terrific. I mean, he's always good. I need to have him on a little more if I could schedule him to get back on. But your guys' points are great about Andrew Vaughn, and I'm glad that my Sox Summer went out and said Andrew Vaughn might be lazy. Because I said it at the beginning of the year, Andrew Vaughn is probably lazy because every year he fades at the end, and he just doesn't seem to have the strength to be able to blast the ball the way he should be able to.
Is he like the opposite? Is he like the bizarro Jose Abreu? Like, he gets worse at the end of the season.
Yeah.
He's seemingly getting worse at playing first base. Like, he's had a couple nice plays, so I shouldn't shit on him too much.
Yeah.
for his
Defense
first
looks
base
like it's
play.
getting better, actually.
But there's definitely been a number of plays where I'm just like, oh god, this looks like you've never played this position. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it does seem bizarro Jose Abreu to me, especially on the hitting side. All right. We have to talk about this.
We're gonna hit this real quick.
Just real quick.
Because
Hit this real quick.
it's hard not to talk about this because it's so fucking ridiculous. And Jerry totally denied it today. But
he said, wasn't me.
we are men of girth. And I have to ask you guys, what do you think we could sneak in our belly fat into the game? Like I feel like I've worn a belt and it's gone off in the metal detector.
Yes.
So my gut isn't even handling that. Like, I'm a little disappointed in my girth. What do you guys think? Could we sneak something in our fat?
I mean, if you cut me open, yes. I mean, like, sure.
This is an idea.
Cut you like a tauntaun.
A tauntaun, yeah.
Where's Billy Wires at? We'll do it in his garage.
Like, I mean, I don't think it's very much. Like, I don't understand this whole thing. And
So no, HBIC, entire 12-inch pizza, wrong. We tried
get it
this.
in.
Yeah,
we
tried
tried
to
to
get
bring
those
in
in.
Little Caesars pizzas, and they did not let us in.
Nope.
And that was the joke that I wanted to put up, but it was like, this is bad taste. I can't do it. Because when I brought the pizza to the gate, they said, no, you can't bring it in because it's not in a plastic bag. So clearly that woman snuck it in a plastic bag because it was okay. As long as things are in a plastic bag, it's fine. Cardboard box, can't bring in a whole pizza. But if I had it in a plastic bag, it would have been fine. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I can't. You have to put it in me. You got to put it in me, and it would be
Whoa, hello.
like a Magnum 350. Yeah, like the one of those 357s.
I mean, I am
my
absolutely
fat.
turning that into a video.
I'm sure you would.
You got to put it in me. That's
Gotta put it in me.
Gotta put it in.
You know, Tracy, when I originally heard this, I was
It won't
like,
go underneath.
this story, I'm like, this is just another slight towards us Southsiders being fat. And that's all it is. But now I almost feel empowered that we could use the power of our obesity to really fucking stick it to the man. We could sneak stuff in there and like overpower, you know, the man trying to keep us from keeping things out of the stadium. So
Yeah.
maybe there's a good thing to this. Now, I didn't like, you know, thick girls get enough bullshit. I didn't like the depicting on thick girls that they're sneaking guns in and they're shooting and hiding under the rolls and stuff. Just leave my thick girls alone, okay? Let's just cut it out a little bit.
It was just, I mean, the way they handled this whole thing has just been incredibly awful, just incredibly awful. And like, cause it's like not coming out and giving constant updates. I understand what they're doing. They're saying, you know what? You fucking, this is such a ridiculous claim. We're not even going to go against it. You need to go out and just say, hey, listen, the Chicago CPD is still working on the case, and they're going to keep us updated, and we're going to keep you updated when it happens. Because if you don't, you get fucking stories about fat women putting it underneath their belly and going in and shooting CPS teachers, you know, or being shot by themselves who themselves are a CPS teacher. I don't know. And it's like, these stories don't just come from nowhere. They're like, who made this up? No one just made this up. There's got to be some type of truth to the whole thing. We just
Wait,
don't
why?
know
Why does there have to be
what
truth to it?
is. I don't know.
At the end of the day,
I don't know.
At the end of the day, the only thing that should come out of this is we need to get rid of the fucking Fisher Price metal detectors and get the good metal detectors that everyone else has.
Yes.
Like everyone else has, that gets people into the park quicker, that's much better. And you know what? Honestly, I don't know if this is even Jerry. Because he's not the owner-operator of the stadium.
I wonder...
if it's the state of Illinois, sack up for the fucking new metal detectors.
State of Illinois, not state of the art. That's what you used to tell us in college all the time.
He did say new metal detectors, which I like. You know, that's nice, Treasy. I appreciate it.
Well, they're not gonna let MSS in.
Limp Biscuit, baby.
They're gonna be like, Mr. Durst, Mr. Durst, you're gonna have to turn your head around to come in the building.
Spread them.
Frisk him. Yeah, body cavity search this motherfucker. You know what, though? I was thinking about it a little bit more. I would think a small gun would fit better under a big titty than it would a fat roll. Don't you think?
Yeah.
You see
All right.
some women
I mean,
with
I
real
was-
big titties, it'll slide underneath there.
I was
easily.
gonna say that,
too.
and you know what?
Yes.
I think that's where they would put it too. That's
yes.
where you would hide it, right?
Yeah, that's where you'd hide it, for sure.
Because
Because you're not
that's
going to
where
get
you know-
frisked there.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not frisking a big... I mean, I would want to, but you shouldn't. It's not very nice, you know?
You know what's
Will
funny?
Thrasher
If,
says,
like,
Will Thrasher says Marco Patti reassigned to security detail. Yeah, that sounds about right.
You could
Beef,
pay
what
him
if
off, though.
that is where? What if that is where she hit it? Like, I really want her to be scoping out the security guard. Like, no, that guy will get in there. I got to go to a different one. Just see that look in his eye. And you're like, no. That,
He's
I can't
waiting
go
to
that
frisk
one.
me. You can't wait.
I can't go to that one. No.
Someone did say that too. They're like, this is where not shaming fat people has gotten us, because no one wanted to go in there and investigate why it kept beeping, you know, in her belly. And I was like, I don't really think that's the case.
You know what's
no
funny?
One's gonna be,
Yeah.
Like, I could be smelling like a fucking zoo. And like, if I was beeping the fucking metal detectors, they're not just be like, you know what, you're fine, just go right ahead. They're gonna fucking go. Okay, we have to take them
MSS,
somewhere now.
This is a great point, because I was talking about this with Cornsey, and I was like, yeah, so I guess, you know, like, I guess if the metal detector did go off, maybe the person was like, I don't want to frisk this person. I feel uncomfortable trying to frisk this person. And she was like, yeah, but then you could just tell them, you keep going off, you can't come in. Go get rid of whatever metal's on you, and then come back.
Right.
And I thought about it for like 2 seconds, and I was like, yeah, because they make motherfuckers take the smallest bag ever back to their car. Of course they would do that. It's
Yes,
not like they're,
absolutely
it's not
they
like
would.
they're the nicest people, right? It's not
No,
like
they're
like,
the
always,
worst.
Like,
They're
so
the worst.
inviting, right? Like, so it's like, yeah, they would, like, that wouldn't happen.
Dude, I've walked in with 108 merch for a fan, and the guy's like, you can't bring it in the bag. I'm like, what? It's a T-shirt. Here's the T-shirt. Yeah, you can't bring that bag in.
So you had to remove the bag from it, and you could
No.
bring the T-shirt in.
You know what I fucking did? I turned around, walked out, fucking folded the bag, put it in my pocket, and then walked in carrying the shirt, and then put the fucking thing back in the bag as soon as I got through security.
Dumb shit.
What
Yeah,
the
so
fuck
someone-
But where
does
was your
that
gun?
even matter?
Where did you hide your gun, though, in this situation?
But allegedly, someone got in with a pistol. Sure.
So yes, although they would not allow me in with a fucking plastic bag that I brought in anyway, they're fucking definitely just going, you know what? You keep beeping, but we're just gonna trust you. Take it easy. All right, have a good one.
You're all good. You're Gucci.
You know, you guys you're saying like, oh, well, this means that a gun didn't get in. No, I think a gun did get in. And you know what? I think it's just because the metal detector never went off. Because they don't detect metal.
That's weird.
Remember like a year ago when they were just like, Judge, put your hands up here.
Well,
I remember that. Yeah, that's right, Chorizo.
Yeah,
Could be.
but they don't have that one anymore, right? Or they still have those at gate too.
They just don't let you do it.
Yeah,
They make you
that's
put
true.
your shit in the thing because
Yeah.
they're like, hey, put it in this bin where this guy vomited 4 minutes ago. That's safe.
Oh man, those bins are disgusting. That's a good call, Treasy. There's like pubic hairs floating around in there, and like
What?
mysterious pools of water, and it's like, clean this fucking thing up before I put my phone in here, you
There's
assholes.
always something brown in there. There's
Always.
It's-
Yes.
It's
They
like
yell at
someone
me.
dumped an entire cola in there or shit. I don't know which one. But either way, I don't want my keys on it, all right? I don't want my phone rubbing against that.
They yell at me every time. They're like, "Don't put your water in there. Just carry your water." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because this is gonna fuck it up. Like, you
'Cause
need
you're gonna get
everything
cholera.
else, but you fucking don't put my water in there." Just take it easy there, Sheila. Fucking
Also,
check somebody else.
if you think the metal detectors are working, why is there a fucking 100 people vaping every game? Like, that shit don't work, all right?
Treasy, Dale says Derek Smalls could get in. I figured you'd appreciate that one. He could get in.
I came in with the cucumber and foil before.
I'm sure you did.
No,
You gotta show out good in the class picture. I know how that works.
Cornsey's calling us out, saying that she says, and I quote, "OMG." Oh, did you put it up at the same time?
Yeah, sorry. There you go. Yep. Go ahead.
OMG, I complain about this shit all the time, and you all make fun of me. No.
Yeah, we're making fun of it right now. Yeah.
We're making fun of
Yeah.
it, but we also make fun of you because you get a little bit too conscientious when they would like kind of like just unzip your purse. You would go, "Hey, get out of there, you son of a bitch!" You know, like you get a little touchy. You're a little touchy. It's okay.
She gets
I
her gun in
respect you.
every game, though.
That's
Like,
true. Yeah.
Without fail. Without
That's
fail.
absolutely correct. Yeah.
She goes half Karen on him, and then they're fine. Why do we keep double clicking, Loaf? We keep
Go ahead.
double clicking.
You unclick.
Okay, I'll
Unclick it,
click
asshole. Hurry up.
I'm taking away all of MSS's rights tonight. All right, I don't know. Do you guys have anything more about hiding guns and titties or anything?
No, man.
I mean, I got more
Maybe
about titties,
autobiography.
but we'll move on.
Get to
from
that in a
the
little bit, right?
All right, maybe do a little ad read for us.
All right, here we go. It's September, and that can only mean one thing. The opportunity to hit up Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp pre or post game is ending soon. The temps are cooling off, and that makes for great dining on their all-new patio. They even have sunshades that will protect Treasy's little baby hands from that silverware. In addition to the best fried seafood in Chicago, you can also get a nice cool drink to enjoy while you feast. Choose from canned or fountain pop. Adult beverages you can shake a stick at. Miller Lite, Heineken, Corona, Modelo, Mango Sour Diesel, canned margaritas, and White Claws. So take advantage of all this great weather while you can. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp has 4 locations: 2120 South Canal Street and 3242 West 87th Street in Chicago, 50 South Manheim Road in Hillside, and 3248 Volmer Road in Olympia Fields. Visit them online at lawrencesfishandshrimp.com to see their menus and place an order. Lawrence's Fish and Shrimp, Chicago's favorite shrimp house since 1950. Good stuff, right?
My friends,
the live ads are back.
we got a new GM today. We got people hiding guns and titties. We've got a team that is possibly going to lose 100 games this season.
Yeah.
So the only thing we can do in this type of situation is give you my sock summer story time. MSS, take it away, my friend.
Now, folks, tonight's story is not about baseball. It is not about sports. Well, I mean, maybe water sports. It's not about anything. It's about an adult entertainer, an adult actress. Okay? So shut off the podcast now if you don't want to hear me talk about a famous adult actress from the 2000s, because I'm going to talk about it. And tonight, in MSS Story Time, we're going to ask the question, what happened to Brandy Taylor? Now, her last name is spelled Taylor. It's Taylor, but it's spelled, or it looks like it's spelled Taylor, but it's Taylor. But I'm going to assume that I'm going to fuck this up 3 times while I'm reading the story. Brandy Taylor, see, I almost did it. Brandy Taylor was a fixture in adult films in the mid-2000s. Hailing from Toledo, Ohio, Brandy started doing some modeling for a local car parts store after giving birth to her first child. Gaining some traction with the modeling gigs and looking to capitalize on local fame, she started dancing at a local gentleman's club and dabbling in nude modeling. As these things go, she continued doing this for a few years before she making the jump to hardcore movies at the fine age of 22 in 2003. Oddly, she got her family's blessing before she got into the industry. Her start in the industry started off with a bang, literally. She was the featured cover girl in her first adult film, Stacked and Packed, Volume 5. After nearly 50 scenes, she won the FAME, which is Fame, Fans of Adult Media and Entertainment Award for Favorite Rookie Starlet of the Year in 2006. In 2007, she was runner-up for Booby Girl of the Year. Things were looking great for Brandy.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
50 scenes, still rookie.
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. Checking.
Long
It was like
rookie year.
literally, like it was an insane amount, and I just started counting, and I got to 50, and I was like, you know what? Or I got to 40 something, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna assume that it's 50 scenes. Okay.
It's like Curtis Martin getting 350 carries his rookie year.
Absolutely.
Now, she worked with some of the biggest names in the industry during that time, including Gianna Michaels, Sarah Stone, Carmela Bing, Angela White, which if you look at pictures with her with Angela White back then, you don't recognize that Angela White if it's the same Angela White as today. You should go look that up. Not on a work computer, though. Whitney Stevens, Brie Olson, and one of my very favorite people, J Mac. She's worked for Bang Bros, Naughty America, Reality Kings, and Brazzers. But she also received some mainstream fame when the late Howard Stern Whack Pack member, Eric Lynch, a.k.a. Eric the Midget, a.k.a. Eric the Actor, a.k.a. Derek from Texas, called in and demanded to talk to her. They were trying to get him to float with balloons. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this bit, but Eric the Midget, and that's what they called him. He's a little guy. He was 3'4". He was pigeon-toed. They wanted him to come on the show and attach his chair to a bunch of balloons and float him into the air. So one of the demands that he made was, I will do it, but I need to have a date with Brandy Taylor. And so they got her on the show, and she said that she would go out with him. You know, it was very nice. She's a very, very bubbly girl back in the day there. And they never ended up like getting together to do the date. He actually canceled it because he wasn't going to go fly with balloons. But she got on the show a few times back in these days, and that is huge for an adult actress back in the 2000s to get on Howard Stern. And internet porn was just like at like the all-time greatest level. Like, you know, they always say like 90s was like the best like decade for music, you know, like, well, our guys say that. And if your internet porn at that point in the mid 2000s was just flying. It was flying high. So anyway, after a decade in the business, Brandy retired in 2013, but came out of retirement in 2017 to do a video with Bang Bros, a BTRA joint. And if you know what BTRA is, you had LimeWire. She's been working independently with her OnlyFans, and there has been some interesting developments since her retirement. It's unclear when, but at some point she married the father of her second child. That father is incarcerated and has been since 2012, with an expected release date in 2028. He is in jail for possession of drugs, which was a shitload of cocaine. Like the guy's like in his sentencing is like, that's a lot of drugs, and even when you're not even selling them. So he just was holding a ton of drugs, and aggravated burglary. He broke into somebody's house and slashed the person up. So he was, not good.
That does sound aggravated. I agree.
A little aggravated. In the sentencing video, you can see Brandy in the background, which is very interesting. And he takes full responsibility for his actions, asking his wife and family not to be blamed for anything that he did. You know, it was all his doing, and he was ready to serve his time. And he only said, "You know what I'm saying," to the judge about 700 times while he was doing this speech. So I'm not going to talk too much shit about him because he would probably kill me. So anyway, he takes it around that time. Brandy was also arrested. There's like old mug shots, and but I couldn't find any of the reasons why she was arrested. So she was arrested, but we just don't know why. If you go on the internet message boards though about her in this time period too, a lot of stories came out about her doing escorting, feature dancing around the country, and scamming tons and tons of fans out of money. She would require a deposit for a fan to come meet her. And I think it was like, I think I read somewhere it was like $800 for to engage in sexual activity with her chest. And she would require half of it up front and then never contact the person again. So, and she also took credit cards. So it's a lot of smoke around what's happening business there. So, potentially that's true. Now, just the other day, I go on Reddit a lot, and I was going through the Howard Stern thing, little room, the threads, and they were, while I was in there, like her mugshot like popped up, the one that we did at the beginning of the thing here on the right. And she's tatted up like Post Malone with that face tattoo. And I was like, oh my God, what is fucking going on with Brandy Taylor? And this is what sparked this. So I was like, I got to go look into it. So I did some investigating, and it appears that she was just arrested on August 25th, which if you're playing at home was 6 days ago. Now, she was arrested for contributing to the delinquency of a child, not a minor, a child. So now this can mean all sorts of things. She could just be the only adult with a bunch of kids that are partying that are all underage, or she could be the person supplying the person with the drugs or the alcohol. Now, she just got booked, and it's also kind of odd that she's not up for release until November 23rd. So she's got to spend like 2 months or 3 months in jail before she'll get released or get bonded out. I don't know. It didn't say that she was eligible for bond, so I'm not exactly sure. Now,
well, they're gonna have to sell all that cocaine to get her out of bond.
That's right. They gotta move that,
According to all her OnlyFans stuff and whether she is definitely hurting for money. There's several GoFundMes out there for her to like bail her, daughter out of prison or bail herself out of jail. So yeah, I think the cocaine money is way gone at this point. I don't think she diversified her investments. She probably put it all in that cocaine, and then that got taken away, and that's a hard stock market crash.
Should have worked with Wu-Tang Financial, man. She fucked up.
This story would be crazy if that's where it ended, but it did not. So while I am investigating and doing all this stuff, I'm looking into the previous arrests, and I'm trying to find old mugshot photos. And when it comes up and you're looking at the one of her old mugshot photos, guess who pops up? Oh, it's her 18-year-old daughter's OnlyFans. And how do I know that it's her daughter? Because she is promoting her 18-year-old daughter's OnlyFans on her Twitter page. So she has her OnlyFans, and if that's not enough, if you want to see Brandy Taylor's daughter do OnlyFans, you can for a pretty reasonable rate from what I could tell. I don't do OnlyFans, but it seemed like it was pretty easy. So she started her adult entertainment career in 2021 at 18. And you can do your own investigation on her name. I'm not going to give that out. I think this is kind of creepy. But I literally have never seen a mother-daughter, like legit mother and daughter team in porn. Like this is my daughter.
I like how you threw legit in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's tons of those, and there's alleged sisters. You got your Britney and Whitney Stevens, which I don't really think are real sisters, but they. But yeah, so like, there's guys saying, "Hey, are you guys ever gonna shoot together?" And they're like, "Dude, no, we are not gonna shoot together, thankfully." And she says that she is not a fan of her daughter's decision to do pornography, but she says she's an adult and she has to make her own decisions and do this. Now, having a mom who is a very uber famous porn star definitely paves the way for her career to kind of like take off and have some success. So now, it's crazy. They don't really talk about it, but they have a pretty interesting interactions on Twitter. One guy tweets and says, "I just heard that so-and-so is actually Brandy Taylor's daughter." And the daughter responds like, "Yep, that's my mom." And then Brandy responds right to after it and goes, "Hey, that woman's a whore. Stop talking about your whore mom and go bring your ugly kids over to my house. I want to say hi to them." It's just it's just some funny stuff. One of the most recent interactions that they had on Twitter right before Brandy got arrested was she was yelling at her daughter through Twitter, through tweets, telling her to go pick her up some sunflower seeds and a nice cold pop. It was quite the scene. I definitely think you should go check it out. And that is by far the craziest thing that I have come across on the internet this week. And there was so much to it. I told these guys we were going to do like a quick little thing. I can do a whole story on this motherfucker. And that's what's going on with Brandy Taylor. Thank you.
So sunflower seeds and pop means crystal meth? Is that what I'm doing from the story?
She actually, and then goes into, since my lazy ass daughter won't pick up her phone and get me what I need somebody to send me $20 so I can Postmate this to myself or whatever. And somebody did, and she got sunflower seeds and like a Dr. Pepper.
I love it.
She said, and I need $800 for something else.
Yes. For copulating with my chest. Yeah.
I agree with SPF. Excellent investigative research, MSS.
I mean,
that's
insanity.
Well done,
Insanity. At every twist and turn, there was something new. You came and was like, "Well, what's going on here?" Whoa, my God! There's her daughter, totally naked. This is insane.
So she's in jail for 3 months, but then after the 3 months, she'll be out. Like she'll be all
out.
good or what? Like
I'm assuming.
Okay.
I hope so, because she was just begging online for money for her kids' clothes to go back to school, which I'm sure he got outfitted pretty well. I did see her son playing some Minecraft, and he was quoting Boys in the Hood while he was playing it, and it was quite interesting, and it's just very funny. She's got a TikTok, so yeah, if you want to check out, it's like the Real Brandy 2022. Check out her TikTok. Yeah, it's a TikTok.
So, Beef, a quick question here. So last week we got about 10 minutes out of my sex summer on Dayton Moore. Really good stuff. Yep. This week we got MSS story time, about 10 minutes as well.
Yeah.
How long do you think the research was for each of those? So let's go Dayton Moore first. How much time do you think he spent researching that one?
Maybe an hour.
Okay, I was going to say 10 minutes.
So,
oh my God,
this one. What do you think? How much time do you think he spent?
Like a week, something like that. There's starts and stops. Refractory periods to recover from. All that it's got to count. No.
Like firing up the GoFundMe for was probably took up some time too,
That's right. Sending her $20 so she can get sunflower seeds. Like that takes a little bit of time to get done.
And the Dr. Pepper.
The Dr. Pepper. That's right.
Yeah. She needs the Dr. Pepper. Just one though. Just one.
Did you get her those good sunflower seeds that like you used to bring to the park, the barbecue ones?
No, remember those days? Yeah,
dude. The spicy garlic. The spicy garlic.
Yeah,
was shit. That was your favorite.
Oh,
yeah,
so
I remember
good.
that shit.
Yep. No longer, because I can't bring bags into the park, but I can bring a gun, so just be careful.
Man, just a big bag of sunflower seeds with a gun in the middle. Guys, it's about that time. It's about that time we give a couple 2-tree thank yous out there. Beef Loaf, who are you thinking this week?
Boys, I have a GFY. My GFY goes to all the cocksuckers that are complaining about us 108ers choosing to still attend games. I don't chase you down for all your dumb hobbies and tell you what companies to not spend money on or you should or shouldn't. Just because we're the popular fan group doesn't mean we somehow have to lead your fucking rebellion about not going to the ballpark. All right, we want to go. We have fun there. Sincerely, from your man B-Flow, GFY yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll double down on that one. And just in general, don't tell me.
I saw a thread and it was like, looking sternly at you, Section 108, and they wrote our name. They didn't tag us because they're cowards. And I'm reading it. I'm thinking to myself, you go fuck yourself. Go spend money on whatever you want. But we're not. And I almost replied, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not wasting my time on someone that has 12 followers. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. There's a lot of those guys on Reddit, too, that are like, I'm officially done with this team now. I'm officially done. Like, what happened today that was, like, different than what's happening for the last 6 years? Like,
People having to tell you how done they are with something is kind of a funny thing in its item of itself.
I mean, that looks like a bad, like, that's like, put that back up, Treasy.
Put that back up there.
That's
like Matt sunglasses.
So this is
a trustworthy like, GM right there.
This is Tom Cruise's stunt double in fucking Mission Impossible, right? Like he looks just enough like him, but he's not him. Or it's like, what's his nuts? What's that? Born Identity. Matt Damon stunt double.
I was gonna say it looks like in Ocean's 13 after they fuck with Matt Damon's face.
Yeah, exactly. On a computer screen behind Willie Mack. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
MSS, who are you thinking?
I kind of already did my GFY on that, and the guys doing the roof next door that are giving me mesothelioma. So I'm not gonna do that again. I'm gonna thank everybody that supported me kind of bending the rules a little bit over there at Guarantee Rate Field to get you some extra Dylan Cease bobbleheads. Thank you for buying those. I think my buying bobblehead days might be over.
Wow.
I had a little run-in with security where they took a picture of my ID.
Yeah.
I don't think that's quite legal. I've been told by several people that it was what I was doing was not illegal either, but as a guy that attends 70 games and wants to continue to attend 70 games, I think I'm going to take this little slap on the wrist as my warning and just not do that again. So thanks to everybody that bought in on that. I got plenty of old ones to buy, so I'll put those up later. So thank you.
Feels like security should be focused on other things.
Listen.
I just want to reiterate my GFY to all of you, including myself, who voted for me as the oldest of the 108. But
put my nipples back up there. Look at you.
There you go.
Yeah,
no solicitor, my sex.
Oh my God!
Did you make that? No, I made that right after you told us the story and tweeted it immediately. And Teresa's like,
seen it.
"That's one of your best memes." He told me.
Oh my God, that's good.
We'll get that back out there for everybody. And in the meantime, we'll see you at the park this weekend if you decide to go. If you're one of the other 150 people that are up there, we will be there. And we'll have fun with you guys. We'll have a great time. And thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.